So this will be relatively short. Prisms, yes they are. We did this a couple days ago. Rectangular ones. Do we need to worry about this word right? They're all going to be right, okay? Which means they're not left. Okay? This is the formula for volume of a prism, any of them. But the bases differ, okay? So if you have this guy, how much can I fit inside of it? Whether it's air, sand, water, marbles, okay, you name it, Jello pudding, whatever. What can I fit inside? That's volume. The base, there it is. What shape is the base? Rectangle. Yeah, we can't assume it's a square. It might be, but a square is still a kind of rectangle. That's a rectangle. What's the formula for the area of a rectangle? Just this rectangle. Its length times width, right? That's the area of the base of this thing. The volume says the area of the base, that's this, times the height. Okay? So that's where this comes from. But like I said, you knew that in grade 8. You might even have known it in grade 7. Don't forget it now, just because you're given this as the formula. This says the same thing. Okay? The base is a rectangle. That's length times width. Then we times it by the height. Okay? This says the same as that if it's a rectangular prism. Okay? If it's a triangular prism, can I use this as my base? No. Again, if it's a cylinder and I'm trying to find the volume, can I use that as my base? No. You guys know this is the base, okay? So that has to be the base. So you want to picture this thing looking like this, okay? It has to be consistent as I slice it up in the volume because you want the same size piece of cake. Okay, so the triangle has to be the base. Area of a base, what's the area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2 times the height. Okay, so that's the formula for volume for triangle. This is the base, a triangle, and how high does it go? That's the height. Okay, so it's kind of tricky because there's 2 heights. Okay, this height is this height, the height of the triangle. This height here, let's make it a different color. That is this height, or call it the length if you like. Okay, if it's like this, you want to call it a length. But here, you definitely see that's the height. Okay, it's the same formula. And you know what? It's the same for a cylinder. Formulas. So we know that's the circumference of a circle, okay, which is just another word for perimeter. That's how far around the edge of some kind of polygon, okay? That's called perimeter. Someone came up with a special word if it's a circle. Perimeter is the circumference, okay? It's the same thing. Now let's not ask that question. It doesn't help us. Area of a circle. It's pi r squared. A lot of you have it memorized. If you don't, it's on your formula sheet, okay? You don't have to, but you got to know what this means. Always. Everyone, yes. Okay? So, cylinder. This again, there it is. Don't forget it. Some of you asked me, and I pointed it out in your book, and here it was in your book, highlighted. Okay? There it is. That's not on your formula sheet, so you know what? If you get a question like that, then I'm going to have to give you this, right? Okay, so don't worry about it. You don't have to memorize it. Okay, surface area and volume of cylinders. I was just talking about this, so let's go on to the volume of a cylinder. Does that formula look familiar? Volume is area of the base times the height. Yeah, that's the same for a triangular prism. It's the same for a rectangular prism. That's the one we were just talking about. But now, what's the base for a cylinder? Yeah, that's a circle. What's the area of this base? The area of a circle is pi r squared. And then I multiply it by the height, okay? So that's where this comes from. The volume of a cylinder is pi r squared times h, okay? The area of the base times the height. Look on your formula sheet. Does it show you this for volume? It doesn't. You got to come up with this, okay? But look under surface area. Does it say the area of the base is pi r squared? Cassidy? Look on your formula sheet. Okay? Don't look at me. You got to get familiar with this thing. Because on the test, I can't tell you, look here. You got to know that. Okay? This is what you get. The volume of a cylinder is the area base times the height. You got to know where to find this. You don't even have to memorize it. You just got to look about 2 inches to the left where it says area of the base is pi r squared. So you substitute that in here, and you got to come up with this on your own. Okay? Pi r squared times h. Okay? Other than that, like I said, it's the same formula. This works for anything, any prism. Okay? We don't get ones like this. What's that even called? An octagonal prism? I don't know. We don't. No. Yeah. We don't do that in this course. But you know what? That's the same formula. It's just the base is different. Okay? These are the 3 you're going to get. All right? So that's volume. Now let's talk about surface area. Surface area, again, what's the concept? Who can tell me what it means? What does it mean, surface area?
Just outside.
Outside of the shape. So I'm going to send a bottle of wine to my grandma for Christmas, and I don't want her to know what it is, so I'm going to put it in a box that kind of looks like this. Well, it kind of looks like a bottle of rum, but anyway. All right? I'm going to wrap this thing in paper. I got to cover the top. I got to cover the bottom. And then I have to cover the middle part. There's a word for that. Okay? It's called the lateral section. We're going to see that word again when we get to cones. Okay? So is this thing entirely covered in paper now? It is. So again, that's the top. What shape is the top? It's a circle. What's the area of a circle? How much paper do I need just for this part? Pi r squared. I'm going to cover the bottom. How much paper is that? About that much. What is this shape? The area of a circle is pi r squared. Okay, those are the easy 2. So when I'm getting the total surface area, I got to add this one and that one. How many circles do I have? 2. So the surface area is 2 circles and this middle part. So for the middle part, let me show you something. Okay, I got cheap. I couldn't afford any wine, so I'm sending her some peanuts instead. Okay? I want to cover this thing in paper. I'm going to cover the top. There it is. It's 1 circle. I'm going to cover the bottom. It's another circle. Okay? This is the tricky part, but this label is exactly the same size as how much paper I need. Like, that's covering the middle part, isn't it? Okay? So if I take this part off, you know what kind of a shape this thing makes?
Rectangle.
It does. Now, what's the dimensions of this piece of paper?
Like,
We call this, yeah, it's length times height. This is the same as the height of the cylinder, isn't it? Okay, so that's the height. That's here. If this is the height of the cylinder, that's also the same height as this piece of paper. Now what's the length? Do you think this length is the same as the circumference of this circle? You'd think, just going out on a limb? If you unravel that, it does not. It exactly meets right there. Okay? That's exactly a circumference of the circle, isn't it? Do we have a formula for circumference of the circle? What is it? Where do we got it? Circumference is right here. It's on your formula sheet, and there it is. That's the length of the perimeter of the circle. That's the length of this lateral part. So this circumference, 2 pi r, that's how long this is. That's the length. Okay? So if I want the dimensions of this rectangle, its length, 2 pi r times the width, but the width is the height of the cylinder. That's where the formula comes from. I got 2 circles, and I have this piece. Okay? You have to understand this. Because in Math 10, we don't give you a whole cylinder and say, what's the surface area of it? Okay? We give you one with the top missing. If I want to just cover this part and the bottom, not the top, because there's nothing here, what do I have to subtract from this formula to get the surface area? I only have 1 circle, not 2. What if this is a can of soup? You ever see soup with labels on the bottom or the top? I just want the label. I just want this part, not that part, for surface area. Okay? If I just want a label, that's all I want. And we're going to get questions where I give you the surface area, we have to calculate a height, or maybe we have to calculate the radius, which is even trickier. Okay? So we don't just give you R and H every time and say, what surface area? That's like so grade 9. Okay? You have to understand what this means. 2 circles, top and bottom, and the middle part, which is called lateral part in Big Math 10 terms. Okay? That's where that comes from. Here's the formula again. It's on your formula sheet, right? And you don't even have to, like it's written there. Surface area is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Okay? It even says the area of the top is pi r squared. It's a circle. The area of the base is pi r squared. It's a circle. Okay? Area of the side, that means the lateral part, the middle section, is 2 pi r h. Okay? It even tells you that on the formula sheet. Just that part, you got to remember, that's 2 pi r h. Okay? So, calculate the volume, just a couple of examples, and surface area of a cylindrical can. Okay? Now, when you get your test, like, we're going to have lots and lots of different shapes. First thing you do, what shape are they talking about? Is it a prism, rectangular, or triangular? Is it a cylinder, or pyramids? We haven't done. Cones we haven't done. We're still going to get those. Number 1, what's the shape? A cylinder. Blah, blah, blah. And then you look on your formula sheet and go, are they asking for volume or surface area? Okay, if we're really, really tricky, we won't even use those words. We might just use the words. You got to know, is that surface area or is it volume? Okay, this little 2 gives it away, doesn't it? That's the surface area. Okay, I don't know if we'll be that mean to you, but okay, you got to know that's surface area. Cubed is volume. Okay, here we're asked both, but read the question. You got to understand first the shape and which formula am I using. Okay, height is 15.4, base diameter is 10.2. What's the first thing I should do? What does this thing look like? A cylindrical can. Draw it, guys. Picture is worth 1,000 words. I know the height is 15.4. Okay, that goes there. Diameter is 10.2. Is that a diameter? Just wait before you yell it out, okay? Sarah? Is that a diameter? That's a radius. Okay, so that is 10.2. Is there a diameter in our formula? Let's do the easy one first. What's the formula for volume? Somebody look it up and tell me. It says area base times height. Well, that's not very helpful. This is the base. What shape is my base? It's a circle. What's the formula for the area of a circle? Pi r squared times height. Okay, so all I need is r and h. Is there a d in here? No. So you got to half it, not double it. This is the diameter, so my radius is 5.1. That's what I need. Okay, so the volume is pi times 5.1 squared times 15.4. Okay, the volume's the easy one. Surface areas are usually harder. And read your answer. Do they want it to the tenths, the hundredths? That's why we don't use 3.14. We use the pi button. Because you know what? If it asks to the hundredths, that's just going to make your answer wrong. That one little error of not using the pi button, using 3.14, okay, because you're missing all these other decimals, okay? So I got that times 5.1 times 5.1 times 15.4. This one they want to one decimal place, that's the tenths, so that would be 0.4, right? 1258.4, what's the units? Yeah, and don't put it here and here and here and here. It just gets too messy, okay? And this is complicated enough without the units. Just when you're done, make sure you double check. Centimeters, squared or cubed? Cubed. Volume, 3 dimensions, length, width, and height. Okay? Cubed. Surface area. Cylindrical can. It doesn't say anything about missing a top or anything special, so I want the whole thing. That's 2 circles, top and bottom, and the middle part, 2 pi r h. Okay? Same thing, substitute. 5.1, don't forget brackets when you substitute. 2 pi, 5.1 times 15.4. And we all should have a decent calculator, and if you do, you can just put that in one line. Okay? Because it does bed mass for you. And if you got a crappy calculator, well, you got to do this part first, and then this part, multiply all those, then add them together, right? So 2 pi 5.1 squared plus 2 times pi times 5.1 times 15.4. Did I use any multiply signs in this? No. But brackets in my calculator means multiply, and it probably does in most of yours too. Okay? But everybody's calculator works differently, so double check that. If you're not getting the right answer, okay, garbage in, garbage out. To the tenths, that's a 0.9. It's still centimeters, but this is surface area. It's squared, right, Shelby? You did? Oh, you're right. Thank you. 656. Okay, that's better. Yep, 656.9. Okay, that's as easy as they're going to get. And honestly, that's math 9. That's not math 10. In Math 10, we got to add a little something extra to it to make it a little more exciting, okay? No top. Maybe I'm giving you the volume and saying find the height. We rearranged all formulas yesterday, right? Gave you practice questions to do that. Okay, that's why, because we're going to be doing stuff like that. So one more, that's it. Poster company has decided all of its posters. You guys know what a poster is? Oh, good. It's kind of like a dying art, like records and, you know, board games instead of cell phones. It's shipped in, what's the shape? Let's not say everyone, because if someone doesn't have one, then they'll feel underprivileged.
What's the generalization?
Okay, I don't know. All right.
Usually if you go, if everybody has a poster and someone nods, it usually means they have one.
Okay. Containers, cylindrical, makes sense? Why do you want to ship them cylindrically and not in like something like flat and square? No, actually it takes less room. Cylinders take more room because there's always some space in there. The reason is you don't want creases on your poster, right? Okay. Height, 17 inches. Circumference of 2 inches. Do you understand the word circumference? Does it say diameter? Does it say radius? Okay, a little something different. The curved surface area of the container will be wrapped with a paper label containing the company logo. Calculate to the nearest square inch the curved surface area wrapping. What does that mean? Good. Poster. Okay, it's going to kind of maybe look like that. Curved surface area wrapping. Paper label with a company logo. Is the logo going to be on the ends? Okay, that's what you guys have to decide when reading this question. That doesn't make any sense. Think about it. You've all got posters, you say. You know what kind of container they came in. It was maybe like 2 or 3 centimeter diameter. Is someone going to have a logo on the end? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, to sort them, sure. Yeah, and tubes and stuff. But okay, so you got to take this English stuff and make sense of it. We don't want the ends. That's the point I'm trying to make here, right? I just want, someone used the word, what was it? Lateral part, okay? So, square inch. Does it say the word volume or does it say the word surface area? It doesn't say either. What are they asking you? Square inch. Yeah, that says surface area, doesn't it? Okay, so this is a cylinder, number 1. Number 2, I'm talking surface area. Now you look up your appropriate formula. It says 2 pi r squared and 2 pi r h. But as I'm trying to say, do we want that whole thing? Yeah, we don't even like need the 2 pi r squareds, right? Okay, I just want the lateral part. So get rid of them. 2 pi r h. Okay, that's my formula. I need to know r and I need to know h. Or do I need to know r? What does that say? What's circumference in this formula? Not just r. This is the formula for circumference, right? So what is this? That's 2. All of that is 2. So the surface area is 2 times h. That's a little easier than, sure, you could substitute and solve this thing for r, okay? And then plug it back in here. But why don't you just think, that says circumference. That's 2 pi r. Get rid of it. Substitute 2 for the circumference. Okay, all I need now is the height, and I know the surface area. It's 2 times, what's the height? 17. That's the surface area. What's the units? Inches squared. Okay? That's a grade 10 question. There's a lot more understanding in there than just like plugging in Lego blocks. Put the red square in the red block and put the blue block in the blue slot, okay? Did I say slot? Yeah. Slot, spot, I combined the two words and made one. Okay? Understanding of the formula, understanding of reading the question, lots going on. Okay, so part 2, cylinders 4, 5A, 7, 8, and 11. And again, quiz tomorrow. Not on cylinders, just prisms.